Hello everyone, welcome to a new video of Your Polyglot Academy. Now today, in this new video of our series on how to learn French in 50 days with SMO, we're going to cover lessons 31 and 32, so let's go. Now firstly, we're going to cover lesson 31, and as always, there's going to be a dialogue, so please make sure to listen to it twice, and if you're ready, let's start. Here's the dialogue for lesson 31.
31e leçon.
J'en ai besoin rapidement.
Que puis-je faire pour vous, madame?
Est-ce que vous avez des bouilloires électriques?
J'en ai deux. Celle-ci à moins de 100 € et celle-là qui est à 400 €.
Mais c'est hors de prix! Elle est en argent?
Bien sûr que non. Et c'est un appareil très sophistiqué. Il est même connecté à Internet. Tout le monde en parle, et j'en vends beaucoup. Mais celle à 100 € marche très bien aussi, je vous assure.
Est-ce que vous en êtes sûr?
Oui, j'en suis certain. Tous mes clients sont contents. Enfin, presque tous.
Bon, d'accord. Donnez-moi celle à 400.
Excellent choix. Je regarde sur mon ordinateur. Ah, excusez-moi, nous n'en avons plus. Vous en avez besoin aujourd'hui? Sinon, je peux en commander une pour demain.
Non, j'en ai vraiment besoin rapidement. Tant pis. Merci pour votre aide.
Je vous en prie. Merci de votre visite.
So, did you understand everything that was mentioned in the dialogue, or at least most of it? Well, I hope so. In case that you maybe didn't get some expressions, here's the translation of the dialogue. So, it's the 31st lesson, and the title is I Need One Quickly. What might I do for you, madam? Do you have electric kettles? I have two. This one here, at less than 100 euros, and that one there, which is for 400 euros. But that's outrageous. Is it made of silver? Of course not. It's a very sophisticated appliance. It's even connected to the internet. Everyone is talking about them, and I sell a lot of them. But the one for 100 euros works very well too, I assure you. Are you sure of that? Yes, I'm certain of it. All my customers are happy. Well, almost so. Okay, alright. Give me the one for 400. Excellent choice. I'm checking my computer. Excuse me, we don't have any more. You need one today? If not, I can order one for tomorrow. No, I really need it quickly. Never mind. Thanks for your help. You're welcome. Thanks for visiting. So that was a dialogue, and that was basically the translation of it. I hope that you maybe kind of were able to translate the expressions from French to English that you maybe didn't get at first, but that's not a problem. Now, we're going to get into the notes, so basically some remarks on the most important vocabulary or maybe on some new rules that were mentioned in the dialogue indirectly, so let's cover them now. On the first one, we came across puis-je in the exercises in lesson 26. The term, derived from the old interrogative form of je peux, I can, is now used only in polite formal questions like may, might in English. Puis-je avoir votre nom? Might I have your name? Que puis-je faire pour vous? What may I do for you? Puis-je cannot be used in questions formed with est-ce que, which by definition are less formal than the inverted interrogative, so please remember that. Now, on the second remark, the adverbial pronoun en was introduced in the previous lesson. It has several functions, notably to avoid repetition of a noun. En is frequently used with the partitives du, de, la, de. J'ai du café, vous en voulez? I have coffee, do you want some? See also note 5. Now, on the third note, the demonstrative pronouns celui, celle, ce, celle, which were already mentioned and covered in lesson 28, can't be used on their own. Le tarte, j'aime celle aux fraises. But they can take the suffixes si, here an abbreviation of ici, which has no cedilla under the c, and la, when indicating or demonstrating a specific thing that is either close to or distant from the speaker. Tu veux celui-ci? Do you want this one here? Nous préférons celle-là. We prefer those ones over there. So please make sure to always remember these suffixes, which can be taken. Now, on the fourth remark, hors, pronounced hors, means out of, away from. Followed by de, it is a prepositional phrase. Il est hors du bureau pour le moment. He's out of the office for the moment. It can also be used in set expressions, such as hors de question, see lesson 18, hors de prix, out of price, which means overpriced or outrageously expensive, as well as the culinary term hors d'oeuvre, which means out of work, a starter. Now, on the fifth note, en is also a preposition meaning in. It can be used in phrases indicating either a state, en, or in of gold or a situation, en vacances, on holiday. For the time being, simply memorize the phrases you come across. We'll learn more as we go along, so don't worry too much about that. Now, on the sixth note, we know that l'argent means money, but the other meaning is silver. In this case, it is preceded by de, la médaille d'argent, the silver medal, or en. Ma nouvelle montre est en argent. My new watch is in silver. Now, on the seventh note, please don't confusion this preposition sur, en, with the adjective sûr, safe, secure. Both words and the feminine adjective sûr are pronounced identically basically, but the circumflex on the second word makes it easier to tell the difference between them. Now, on the eighth note, tant pis is a set expression meaning too bad or never mind. Now, pis is literally form of pyre, worst, which we'll see shortly. And finally, on the last note, je vous en prie is the standard response to merci, thank you. The familiar tu, fa, is je t'en prie. Although the literal translation would mean I pray you, is very formal and also rarely used in English, the French expression, both the vous and the tu forms, are standard. Now, if you understood everything, or at least most important aspects, then I would please you to do the exercises. So this is exercise number 1.
Exercice 1. Traduisez.
Les clés de la voiture sont sur la table. J'en suis sûre.
Qu'est-ce que je peux faire pour vous, monsieur?
Est-ce que cette montre est en or?
Bien sûr que non.
Avez-vous du lait pour le café?
Non, nous n'en avons plus.
Cet hôtel est hors de prix. Toutes les chambres sont à plus de 500 €.
And this is exercise number 2, where you'll have to fill in the missing words. Now, if you have any doubts on whatsoever or any questions about maybe some vocabulary or some grammatical topics, then make sure to leave a comment, or at least contact me privately so that I can give you an answer. And maybe if you're doing the exercises, also comment down below with your solutions so that I can correct them and give you a feedback. Now, if you don't have any of these worries, then please, let's continue with lesson 32. So in lesson 32, as always, there's going to be a dialogue, so please make sure to listen to it twice, and if you're ready, let's start. Use the dialogue for lesson 32.
32e leçon.
Je ne peux plus continuer comme ça.
Pourquoi est-ce que vous êtes si fatigué quand vous rentrez chez vous le soir?
Mon travail est vraiment épuisant, vous savez. Je suis responsable d'une équipe d'une dizaine de personnes dans le service commercial d'une petite entreprise. Gagner plus.
Je connais cette société. Qu'est-ce que vous y faites?
Nous répondons aux mails des clients. Nous en recevons des centaines chaque jour. En principe, nous devons les lire systématiquement, mais ce n'est pas toujours possible. Bien sûr, nous ne pouvons pas répondre à chacun d'entre eux, même si nous faisons de notre mieux. Nous savons que nous faisons quelque chose de très important. Je ne refuse jamais d'aider mes collègues. Je jette un coup d'œil à leur travail et je leur donne un coup de main quand je peux. À la fin de la journée, j'ai mal aux yeux et souvent des maux de tête. Je ne peux plus regarder la télé, même quand il y a quelque chose qui me plaît. Demain, je vais voir le directeur et lui dire que je ne peux plus continuer comme ça.
Ah, vous n'êtes pas au courant? Vous ne pouvez plus lui parler. Il vient de démissionner à cause de la fatigue.
Okay, so did you understand everything, or at least most of the dialogue, or at least what the topic was in the dialogue? Well, I hope so. In case that you maybe didn't get anything or everything, here's the translation of the dialogue. So it's the 30-second lesson, and the title is I Can No Longer Continue Like This. Why are you so tired when you go home in the evening? My job is really exhausting, you know. I'm responsible for a team of around 10 people in the marketing department of a small company. Gagner plus, which would mean earn more. I know that company. What do you do there? We answer emails from customers. We receive hundreds each day. In principle, we must read them systematically, but it's not always possible. Of course, we can't answer each one, even if we do our best. We know that we're doing something very important. I never refuse to help my colleagues. I glance at their work and I give them a hand when I can. At the end of the day, I have sore eyes and often headaches. I can no longer watch the TV, even when there is something that I like. Tomorrow, I'm going to see the director and tell him that I can no longer continue like this. Ah, aren't you aware? You can no longer talk to him. He's just resigned because of tiredness. So that was the dialogue for today, or I mean, for this lesson. And now we're going to get into the notes, which are also very important to kind of have a deeper understanding of what was mentioned before. Now, on the first one, as we know, si means if, but it can also mean an intensifier, like so. Ma collègue est si fatiguée qu'elle ne peut plus continuer. My colleague is so tired that she can't continue. So in this case, you can see that it's not meaning if, but it's an intensifier to kind of stress that out. On the second note, this lesson looks also at the second subcategory of third group's verbs, those ending in voir. So for example, devoir, to have, to must, pouvoir, to be able to or can, recevoir, to receive, savoir, to know, and voir, to see. Now you have already came across most of them, but you can see that they're conjugated in the same way. Now on the third note, just like une dizaine, approximately 10, which was already mentioned in lesson 19, note 3, une centaine means about 100. The indefinite plural can be used in the same way as hundreds in English. Je reçois des centaines de mails d'une dizaine de collègues. I receive hundreds of mails from 10 or so colleagues. Now, on the fourth note, the indefinite pronouns chacun, masculine, and chacune, feminine, are compounds of chaque, plus un or une, each one. Je regarde chacun de mails en détail. I look at each email, or alternatively, each one of these emails in detail. Now, for emphasis, the pronoun can be placed at the end of the phrase, as in English. Ce bouilloire coûte 100 euros chacune. These kettles cost 100 euros each. Now, please don't confuse chacun or chacune with chaque, which is followed by a noun. Chaque appareil coûte 100 euros. Each device costs 100 euros. Now, obviously, neither chacune or chacune nor chaque has a plural form, so this is also very important to remember. Now, on the fifth note, the negative verb form is usually constructed with ne pas. In some cases, however, pas can be replaced with an adverb, notably je mets and plus. Il ne répond jamais au téléphone, he never answers the phone, or elle ne répond plus à mes messages, she is no longer answering my messages. Now, on the sixth note, another very common irregular plural is the masculine noun for the eye, l'œil, which becomes les yeux, pronounced yeux. Note also the idiom en coupe d'œil, a glance, used with the verb jeter, to throw. The expression donner un coup de main, used in line 11, is equivalent to the English idiom to give someone a hand. Now, on the seventh note, the indirect object pronouns are me, tu, lui, nous, vous, and leur. Max nous donne un coup de main. Max is giving us a hand. Peux-tu me prêter 10 euros? Can you lend me 10 euros? Now, they're identical to the direct object pronouns, except for the third person singular and plural, lui and leur. Note also that the singular lui can mean him or her, depending on the context. Je lui donne un cadeau. I'm giving him or her a present. So sometimes we don't even know if we're meaning a him or a her. Last, don't confuse the pronoun leur with the possessive adjective spelled identically. Leur travail would be their work. So please don't confuse that with the indirect object pronoun leur. Now, on the eighth note, the plural of un mal, a pain, an ache, is des maux. See also lesson 24, note 3. Now, we've covered the notes, so please have a look at the exercises now. This is exercise number 1, and please try to do it.
Exercice 1. Traduisez.
Mon collègue Simon est très fatigué parce qu'il travaille trop en ce moment.
Je suis au courant que tu fais un travail très important.
Je reçois des centaines de mails par jour et je réponds à chacun.
Jetez un coup d'œil à cette photo. C'est qui?
Donnez-moi un coup de main, s'il vous plaît. J'ai mal à la tête.
And this is exercise number 2 where you're about to fill in the missing words. Now, as always, I'm very grateful if you've come so far. If you have any questions or whatsoever, don't hesitate to leave a comment. And as always, have a nice day, and I'll see you tomorrow maybe. Goodbye.